These are the worst UFC champions of all time. Be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Let's start. We got Conor McGregor, who was the first two-time champ, but he held up both the featherweight division and lightweight division for a whole year. Both top contenders had to fight for the interim belt, while Conor went to box Floyd Mayweather, and then unexpectedly retired for 2 years with no defenses to his name. One of the most memorable champions, but did nothing as a champion. Juliana Pena. Despite capturing the belt and shaking up the uneventful women's bantamweight division, in UFC 269, Pena had to rematch Nunes and prove the first bout was not a fluke. However, this was not the case, and in UFC 277, Nunes beat Pena via unanimous decision, which caused Pena to do nothing in her UFC champion reign. Next, we have Matt Serra, one of the only two men to beat one of the GOATs, George St. Pierre, by knockout. But Serra's career was very overrated, going 7-7 in the UFC, and after winning the belt from GSP, he got outclassed and knocked out in their rematch, and then lost 2 fights and only won once in his final 3 before retiring. Luke Rockhold, an underrated fighter who beat many of the old champions back then, but once he became a champ, he couldn't retain the title when he beat Chris Weidman by knockout, and then lost to Michael Bisping, who only had one eye right after. Once he lost his belt, Luke went on a 1-3 run with most of his L's coming from knockout. Luke couldn't stay champ due to him having a glass jaw, and that led to him no longer being able to fight in the UFC. Glover Teixeira. After winning the title at age 42, Teixeira went on to do nothing for the rest of his career. Teixeira did not even defend his belt. He lost to Yuri Prohaska in Yuri's 3rd UFC fight, and they got brutally beat by young skilled contenders and current champ Jamal Sweet Daddy Hills. Carla Esparza. She does deserve her place on this list. The reason why is that she is one of the 2 weakest UFC champions in the history of the female rankings. Esparza submitted an undeveloped Rose Namajunas to take the title. She was then matched up with Joanna Russian last name for her first defense and was simply brutalized. 8 years later, the same thing happened. She won the belt against Namajunas and then lost it right after to Zhang Wei Li and never even defended it once. Next, we have Alex Pereira, who received the title challenge against long-term rival Adesanya at UFC 281, and he actually beat him. Assessing Pereira's title-winning performance against Adesanya, he struggled in the wrestling battles, which raised the question if he can successfully navigate further tests while reigning as a champion. This didn't matter, as in the rematch, Pereira lost via TKO and had no title defenses. One of the most controversial figures in the UFC right now, Aljamain Sterling, who faced bantamweight champion Petr Yan at UFC 259 and became the first person in history to win a UFC title by disqualification. Yan was dominating the whole fight until the unfortunate incident occurred. Sterling also took out TJ Dillashaw via TKO, while TJ had only one arm. Additionally, Sterling was an underdog against Cejudo. It makes people wonder if Sterling is the most disrespected UFC champion today. Cody Garbrandt, the man who was made to end Dominic Cruz's run in the bantamweight division and put on one of the most dominant title fight performances of all time. Many people thought after that fight he would reign as champion, but immediately he got knocked out in his first defense against TJ Dillashaw, and then again got knocked out in the rematch. He fell from the top of the division to near bottom 15 with 3 more losses and only 2 wins. Brock Lesnar, who won the heavyweight belt against Randy Couture and defended it twice. This sounds very good, but when you realize Lesnar lost his next 2 fights to Cain Velasquez and Alistair Overeem because he wasn't able to take a hit. He then retired for 5 years and came back against Mark Hunt, but got busted for steroid use. And who knew how many steroids Brock used during his title run as well? Brock was a big star for the UFC, but as a heavyweight champ was madly overrated. This goes to show, even though you can become a UFC champion, what you do as a champion truly defines your legacy. Please subscribe to the channel for more content, and we love you, and hit that like button and leave your thoughts down below. Bye-bye!